So here we are. After party shenanigans will be going on in Molly Malone's around the corner from the hotel. Pint of the black stuff, eh, James?
Big time, a few pints of the black stuff out.
Well, you're very welcome to the Lightweight Boxing Show. Very exotic this week. We're across 2 countries to bring you the show. We've been in London earlier this week. Of course, it is Buatsi against Richards. So we've been across the fight week in the capital. But now we're in rainy Bilbao because we've just had a thunderstorm outside. So we've dived in the first place that we could find. Again, brilliant trip and a big night of action as well over here. So more of that. It's about JJ Metcalf in against the home favourite, Kermin Leharaga. But of course, Anthony here, he's got a couple of fighters on the card in the shape of Rhiannon Dixon and James Moorcroft. So we're going to get into that and we're going to hear from both. First things first, Anthony, because we've both been north of the border last weekend. You were at the Willie Limond father and son show and I was at the Hannah Rankin homecoming when she defended her belt. So how was your evening?
From Glasgow to Bilbao. Do you know what? It was, to be honest, I felt honoured to do the corner. Willie's genuinely one of the best people I've ever met in boxing. So when he asked me to do both his and his son's corner, it was an honour. But then obviously when it come to it on the night, I was thinking, it's a bit of pressure here. Because obviously Willie hadn't boxed for 3 years, 43 years of age, coming back. And I think it dawned on Willie as well, thinking just the night before, he was like, what am I doing? And, but listen, Jake, his son, boxed very well. And Willie, listen, it was a great result, a third round stoppage. He has. His timing was very good still, but, that's it. And thankfully, it was nice to, I can't remember the last time that happened to father and son. Happened in a British ring for sure. I'm sure it has happened, but I can't remember that. It was a special night for anyone close to them, and I was happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, there's a big night at the Hydro as well. Hannah Rankin defended the WBA and IBO super welterweight titles against Alejandra Ayala. It was a great card as well. Nathaniel Collins superb against Jacob Robinson, and some standout performances as well from an all Scottish card. But in terms of the home fighters, that is. But obviously Ayala taken to hospital and she's recovering now. So all thoughts with her as well. A really great lady as well. So hopefully the recovery goes really well. But in terms of other action, a bit of a Scottish theme still because Martin Bacoli, Scottish-based, Billy Nelson, the trainer, he went and upset the odds, didn't he, against Tony Yoka?
Honestly, it was a fantastic result. And do you know one thing? The main thing is Martin Bacoli got the win. But there was some disgusting cards in that fight. I know it becomes a thing.
When's this all going to change, by the way?
Honestly, I don't know. But one of the judge who had it a draw is right up there with the worst card I've ever seen. I genuinely mean that. Bacoli was fantastic, and for years Billy Nelson's been telling everyone how good he was, how good he is, and he proved that, and he's right up there now for a legit contender. Yoka, an Olympic gold medalist, seen to be a future world champion, and Martin didn't just beat him; he beat him very well, very, very well.
And the cruiserweights, of course, the boxing show was with Zorro. When you call Zorro, you got it all going on, haven't you? Yes,
you can't go wrong, can you? But I think, for me, a very touching thing, I think it's been released since, what he was going to do with the prize money. He's, he has an autistic daughter who's going to help with the prize money, go for a speech therapy, and they're real feel-good stories about boxing. And it was, it was an exciting tournament.
Well, as I say, a little bit earlier, obviously this week, before the rain started falling in northern Spain and the Basque region where we are, we were across all the action in London because Joshua Buatsi, who's been training, of course, with Virgil Hunter, he's in against Craig Spider Richards, whose performance against Bivol in Manchester looks pretty special now.
It does.
So let's have a look at how Fight Week has been playing out in London.
When a very good amateur signs a lucrative professional deal, it's because they've earned it through their achievements in the amateurs. So you can't say they haven't earned it, but the reality is when you're a great amateur, you do get things easier than you do if you weren't. And Craig Richards was a good amateur, but Craig Richards had to go to small hall shows. He had to fight Frank Buglioni for the British title on 1 week's notice. He had to step up and fight Dimitri Bivol really before he was ready to fight Dimitri Bivol. And he wanted to make that point clear at the head-to-head. Now, Buatsi didn't like it. And there's two sides to Joshua Buatsi. There's a humble, respectful, very nice individual, and then there's a horrible, horrible son of a bitch that gets in the ring. And I think we're already seeing that from Buatsi. So I would like you, when you interview him today, just to goad him a little bit in regards to those comments from Craig Richards and see what response you get.
I've been in front of you guys for about 4 years now, 4 to 5 years. If I've shown different, pull me up on it. What I say, man, of course we're all trying to be as professional as we can be, but maybe he might spend time with me soon and he'll be like, oh, Buatsi, you are like this. I don't think it's different. Don't get me wrong, in front of the camera I know what to say, what not to say. That's not media trained, that's just being smart. I went to uni, you learn these things. When you stand up to the presentation in front of people, you get the gist of it. You learn what to do, what not to do. Maybe it's from that, but as to pretending to be someone that I'm not, where the time and the energy for that, where's that coming from? That's long.
Now, you do know each other well from the amateurs. You beat him in the amateurs, you've sparred together. Can you read into any of that now?
The truth is, I didn't even remember them, the sparring sessions. I don't. So I wouldn't say, yeah, I can read into that. I did this, I did that. Nah. Saturday night, we're going to find out, and that's what really matters. So in terms of reading into spars or the fight that I had with him, it was years ago, man.
It is a derby, but it doesn't seem to have that kind of fear of losing to your rival, like maybe a Liam Smith, Anthony Fowler. Yeah. They seem absolutely...
I just think because they're not right, they've never been rivals growing up. They quite like each other. There's just been a few words that have been said back and forwards, and now he's not... I guess it's personal because it's a fight, but they just want to win. Yeah. And Buatsi, I know, will want to do a job on Craig Richards, and a lot of people in boxing feel like this is a 50-50. To the more casual punter who has heard me and everybody ramp up Joshua Buatsi for the last 3 years, you think he's a favourite, but it's going to be a very, very interesting fight.
It's just about us wanting to win. With us, it's not the fact it's personal, like I hate Josh hates me. We both know each other are good operators and we're both in each other's way. So the needle and the issues, there's not issues, but the problem is you're in my way and he feels I'm in his way, and we need to get for each other to get to the next stage. So we can't be friends at the moment. It's strictly business. I need to get you out of the way to move on. So that's what it is. And we're both very ambitious. We both got the will to win. So we're both going to put it all on the line in there to make sure we can move on in our careers. Well, I'm definitely going to move on.
I think that sells itself. Certainly very, very good trade fight. But if you're trying to shift a few tickets last minute, I don't know, what would you say about the undercard?
So much on the undercard. I mean, Chantel Cameron, who is a pound for pound quality fighter, defends her unified world championship against Victoria Bustos. Fight of the night for me could be Alan Babic against Adam Bałski. Babic now moving back to bridgerweight. Bałski's a very, very good young Polish fighter. That's another good 50-50 fight. Ellie Scotney's stepping up in a very tough fight against Cecilia Roman, who's a world champion for a long time, just lost to Ebony Bridges. Robbie Davis has got a very, very tough fight against Molina. He lost last time out to a Mexican when he faced one, come back with a great win against Hank Lundy. And beneath that, Chev Clark from the Tokyo Olympics, great talent. Cyrus Patterson from the GB Podium squad. Charlotte de Freitas, great young talent as well. And John Hedges. So big card at the O2 and big weekend of boxing.
So plenty to look forward to. A big matchroom show in London. Buatsi against Richards. Go on, Ant.
Great
call
fight.
That one.
Great fight. A real one of the standout fights of the year for me domestically. But I think it's past domestic. When I'm saying domestic, it almost serves as a final eliminator for a world title. We've mentioned that Richards, pushing Bivol. It now looks better and better, doesn't it? But then I think since Buatsi has moved over Virgil Hunter, we've certainly seen an improvement in him, and I think that the Bolotnik's performance was fantastic. I think that night he showed another side to him, like that aggressive, nasty side when he needs it. It shows that he's got that in a fighter of his quality. I think everyone needs that, at world level. But it's a superb fight, and respect to both lads there for taking it.
No, it's really interesting, South London, and it's great that there is the storyline, if you like. Buatsi's the golden boy, the Olympian, and been really looked after. Richards has come up the hard way. They're playing on all of that, aren't they? Obviously, but you've got to look for these fine margins. But of course, as we're in Bilbao, we're looking forward to a big night of action. Leharaga can't wait to feel the atmosphere in the arena because he's got a massive fan base. He's in against Liverpool's JJ Metcalf, of course. It's a huge opportunity for JJ. Of course, he's the son of the great Shay Neary. And last week, we went to see Shay, obviously, in the Rotunda.
Yeah, massive opportunity. You know, I'm thankful to get this type of opportunity after the couple of fights I've lost. So, you know, I've come back with a good win. I'm in Rotunda now, training with Joe, and you know, I feel good and I'm ready to go over and win this title.
JJ, that's what I was going to ask. Obviously, change of scenery. How are you finding it? And it's a thriving gym that's absolutely bounced at the minute. Good result after good result. How are you finding it with Joe on deck?
You know what, I'm finding it good. Yeah, I've sort of needed a little change.
Freshen things up a little.
Freshen things up, and you know, there was like things weren't working out with time scale with my dad working and all things. He's still there, still gives me guidance and stuff. So I've worked with Joe before, and you know, it's made sense to come back.
You've only lost two good operators in Ted Cheeseman, obviously Kieran Conway, and again, you've got credit for those fights anyway. You know, it's, and again, it is about what you take from these things, isn't it? I mean, what have you learnt from that in terms of what have you tried to implement from those going forward now?
Well, I've learnt a lot from them. You know, for myself, I don't think things went right in both of them fights, like the whole build-up, everything really. So otherwise, I would have called it a day. If I didn't think I was better than that level, I would have called it a day, and I know I am. So, you know, I've changed things up, and I believe I'm going to go over to Bilbao and show that. To be honest, I went over sparring for the Avanasian fight. I was there for a couple of weeks, yeah. So I know him very well. I know him very well, yeah. He's actually a friend of mine, you know what I mean? So it's one of them things. Boxing's the way it is. So you've got to fight friends, but we won't be friends on the night, but straight after we will be.
Well, a good lad, JJ. Been seeing him knocking around, obviously, but he's really on it now, isn't he? He's got his head on the fight now. He's
super up for it, and I think he feels like the change going into a gym there. He was over in New York when I was over there. You could see he was buzzing to be around it. The change with Joe Mack and Declan. I know his dad will always be there for advice and you know, words of wisdom, but you know, I think he's enjoying that as well.
Enjoying Bilbao, it certainly is as well. Now, what was interesting in that, though, that he said that him and Laharaga pals. Yes. He's done a couple of camps with him. I mean, you've been in that situation. I'm just always quite interested that when you've had to box your mates. I mean, you famously didn't fall out with anybody. It was you never had any bad blood in any fight. But when you're actually fighting proper mates, like Willie Limond, who you were working with last weekend, you know, you've kept that friendship, but you destroyed his career in a way on a night when you boxed, or you certainly put a big dent in it.
Yeah, do you know what? You just have to look at it as business. You just have to look at it as business with that, and obviously the receiving end, Jorge Linares, and then obviously myself and John Murray. I've been through it a fair few times, but it's just, you've just got to remember there's that fine line. And listen, it was never my style to start putting on some fake beef or anything like that, but I was also very aware that that fight is coming to take what's mine, or to get in my way of where I'm going. So once that bell goes, you know, the niceties
all this nonsense
stop.
About you being a nice guy.
There we go. It is. It's just strictly business.
But you had loads of derbies, didn't you? Loads of Manchester derbies. Because it wasn't just Murray. You had Andy Morris, Mike Brody.
Yep. Kieran.
The Withington
even my professional debut. I had a bit of a Manchester derby as well.
Was that Abdul Rashid?
Abdul Rashid, yeah.
There we are. I can remember some things. Right. Well, of course, as it is the big night of action in Bilbao, earlier in the week, because it's all serious now. We'll see how serious it is, because we've got a few clips for you. But in the build-up to it, with yourself, James and Rhiannon, spent a bit of time in Fox ABC to just see how preparations were going with all of them. I suppose this time next year, you're looking at titles, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. With the way women's boxing is, that's like the natural progression. So, you know, I've just got to keep on learning every fight, because obviously I didn't have the extensive amateur background that a lot of girls have. But, you know, I'm in the best hands with Ant, because he's been there and done everything. And we've gone with Martin Cullen now for S&C, and he's been there and done it all as well. Training alongside Tash, I literally watch what she does on the back, because she's a southpaw as well. And I'll just be like, that looks really good, and then I'll try and copy it. So, I'm literally learning from the best, and I'm just really fortunate.
Just tell us a bit about the career with the NHS.
So I'm a hospital pharmacist. I went to uni for 5 years, did my pre-reg year, started pharmacy as I think it was 2019, and then the pandemic hit. So everything changed in the way we were working, because obviously COVID, everything, we've got new trial drugs and everything. So yeah, it's been crazy because, you think you're doing that forever, and boxing was just a hobby for me. But then now everything's flipped on its head because I'm doing this full time and I'm locuming as a pharmacist, in my spare time. And 3 years ago when I got my degree, I never thought I'd be doing this. And I definitely don't think my mum and dad did either. And I don't think they're a bit happy about it. But yeah, with the sponsors, it's enabled me to do that.
I've got a bit of a long boxing history, so I only picked up a glove around 20 years of age. I used to watch a lot of the MMA, Ronda Rousey. I used to go in camps with Nick Diaz, one of my favourite UFC fighters. So I kind of got into it a little bit that way. I was doing a lot of weights in the gym, and I got to a situation where I thought, I want to do something. So I ended up joining a boxing gym up in Wigan in my local town, and got into the unlicensed scene. Fighting on the unlicensed scene, I actually went to the gym, Cabon in Wigan, MMA, a very famous gym at the moment with your likes of Mike Green there, everyone fighting out of the Cabon gym, and I just wanted to do the boxing. I was doing all the MMA stuff, but it just wasn't for me. Ended up doing the boxing and just really, really enjoyed it. Linked up Rhiannon, come down to the gym around 5 fights into my unlicensed career, and then the rest is history, really. I always knew I wanted to be pro. It was never a situation where I'm just going to fight unlicensed. I always knew I wanted to be pro. I was always training like I was a professional anyway. I put everything into it like I do with a lot of things in life. I put everything into it, but that's more or less my history, and the rest is history.
I think it's a really good fight. With women, it's such a short time until you start getting these title fights, and I'm kind of learning on the job as well, so I do need these fights. She's really come forward and aggressive, which I think will play into my hands because I think, I can lead her on to shots and stuff like that, and we're very confident, and it's a fight that I think's perfect for me at this time in my career as well.
I know that John has got the youth world title, WBC. He's got the Spanish title and the former European title. So he's all right. He's good. But as me and Ant have been saying, we've been watching him, and I know Ant won't put me in that fight if he didn't believe I could beat John, and I know I can beat John. I know that the right tactics that Ant's going to implement, and I'm going to go out there and show will beat John. He's very good. He works hard. I just believe that my fitness, my stamina, I'm a total new fighter than I was 2 years ago, and I believe that we're now going to put it all together. We've had a few good fights, and didn't let me off the lead last time. Just made me fight how he wanted me to fight. So it's all going to come together this night, and I believe we're going to be victorious. Both of us are going to be victorious. Rhiannon's got an unbeaten girl she's fighting, which it's going to be some night over there, Dom, and I just hope everyone's watching. This is my come out time.
You've got Rhiannon Dixon, who is a massive favourite, and he's not there to get beat, and he's not there to fight a tough Spaniard. But what an incredible experience for her. And then you've got Moorcroft, who's in deep against a Spaniard, not in his backyard, but he's right up against it. But as you've seen from fighters that have gone over and won those kind of fights, it changes the direction of their career. And also for James Moorcroft, he's got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. It's not like he's defending, this reputation in the UK where he's a box office star. He can go over there, make his money, make a mark on the sport. If he gets the win, he's back on our shows in the UK, and all of a sudden his career's. But what a great experience! I mean, I'm so excited for Crolla. Going over there and being really in the away corner, not for Rhiannon, but and he's going to be living and breathing every second of it.
Well, James Moorcroft, Rhiannon Dixon. I don't know how you get any work done really with James knocking about, but they're a brilliant double act, them two.
I'll tell you, the Chuckle Brothers eat your heart out. It's there's something else. Yeah. It's I don't know how Rhiannon's put up with him for so many years, to be honest. She'll never lose it, but no, they're brilliant. And do you know what? They are actually like best mates.
Yeah.
Probably unfortunately for Rhiannon, but yeah, they are. They actually are. But and listen, you can see it means a lot to them being on the same card together. It's been a while. Well, listen, on this kind of stage, it's obviously they've fought on the same card for years, but I think they've had a little gap. But, on this kind of stage, it means a lot to them.
It's a big, big night for James as well, isn't
Massive.
it? Again, he's in the away corner.
Yep.
He's against an unbeaten fighter. Again, no amateur experience. He's jumped straight in from the unlicensing and done really well as well. And his attitude's fantastic, isn't it? So, I mean, you're confident. I mean, these opportunities, you just got to take, haven't you, anyway?
Listen, James has got nothing to lose going in there with Dom McGuinness, who's unbeaten in 16, but it's a fight I genuinely believe he can win. James boxes how he can. The improvement in him has been massive. It's a fight I believe he can win. It's not a matter of, getting bit paid a bit more than what I normally would, and it's just it's an opportunity I believe he can take, and I believe he will take. It's massive for him. He's been crying out for a big fight, and he's got it. Obviously with Rhiannon as well. Both of them have unbeaten opponents. The pair of them have just got a proper fighter's attitude, fighter's mentality. Nicest people you could meet, but once that bell goes, it's very different.
It is indeed. Again, some sights still to see. He's not been to the Guggenheim yet, which is a bit of a disgrace. But anyway, it's a big weekend of action. And you know what we didn't actually mention at the top of the show, which we should have done really, was Charlo Castano. Because we were talking about that last week, of course, and he righted the wrong, didn't he?
He did, and I'm very quick to point out and brag when I get it right. But I didn't say it on the show, so it shows what kind of person I am. Right. I actually thought Castano was going to win. I thought he won last time, like most people, and I thought that Castano was going to win this time, but a bit more convincing. But Charlo, great fight again, but he was in control, and that's a superb performance. And he holds all the marbles now. One of very few in the sport. I think it's in recent years him and Canelo. At that weight, Josh Taylor as well. Sorry, let's not forget him. But it's a great win, and obviously that camp where he's from, you've got him, you've got his brother, you've got Spence. Yeah. So unbelievable. I think the coach deserves a lot of credit.
Well, there you have it from Bilbao. Been across London, of course, the fight week, so it's all to look forward to. It's JJ Metcalf in against Leharaga, which we're really looking forward to. James and Rhiannon, of course, on the bill as well. And in London, it is Buatsi against Richards. So, well, that's about it. And I think we're going to be taking in the boxing writers next week, so we might have some nice little bits and pieces from there as well. So, all the best with the fighters. And
thank you. Hopefully
Anthony, the coach. It's all about the coaching this weekend.
Wear many hats.
Next week. Thanks very much indeed for watching the Lightweight Boxing Show.